you see, she really can't stop going on TV and continuing to project herself in a way that suggests that she's on the right side of issues, especially ones related to what's going on in the Middle East. Well, you're going to see firsthand what that's all about. And of course, now that she knows that she's being challenged by Jen, I mean, she's known all along, but this is a habit that she had back in 20, which is she went on corporate media constantly, and she's doing it again.
Yeah.
So she wants to be in the public eye, but as you've suggested,
she's a gift in that way.
Keep going. So
I say, fly, Icarus, fly.
Though, I mean, the idea that they can just pick up in tents and move from one side of the region to another, and that there's no serious risk, as the prime minister suggested there, not to mention the lack of food and shelter that they have. Is it a bit more complicated than that? I mean, this could be a serious humanitarian crisis if the Rafah invasion happens.
Respectfully as well, no, it is not as simple as you are describing, or as in that clip you showed, as Prime Minister Netanyahu described to us. It is going to take some time. The process of moving, in fact, Israel is even jeopardizing its own ability to eradicate and destroy the threat that Hamas represents.
You cannot eradicate something that was created out of what you started. In fact, what's going to happen is this is going to get worse and worse and worse. There are multiple generations now that have lost not one family member, not two. There have been people that have lost dozens.
But you see what they've done is they've framed this, they have framed this as if it's Hamas is a small terrorist organization wherein you could get all of them. Right? Like they've created this narrative like it's this small group of terrorists and we just have to kill all of them. But that's not what it is. And they really bank on the fact that most people are just very ignorant about it and don't know. So the reality is Hamas is an ideology. It is a political party, I guess, for lack of a better term, but it's a concept, it's an ideology. And the leadership of said group of ideology are in Qatar. So even if you believe that it was just this finite group of people, wouldn't you think that you would be going after the people at the top of that? I mean, it's just that, but so that's why that is a complete bogus argument. They know it's a bogus argument. She knows it's a bogus argument, but they're going to keep selling it to you like this one group of bad guys if we could just go get them, because that suits their narrative.
And that suits AIPAC very well.
Very well.
By being responsible and understanding that they want to make sure that they can minimize civilian casualties all as much as they can, all while Hamas prevents them from doing that because they don't care about their own people.
Oh, that's such a projection. That is such a you know what? I love that she ends with that. They don't care about their own people. No, you know who doesn't care about their own people? The people that are claiming to care about hostages while dropping indiscriminate bombs in a location where they don't know where their hostages are. That's not people who care about their hostages, not people who shoot their own hostages. So yeah, those are the people who don't care about their own, the people that take groups of people into areas they ought not be as human shields. Those are the people that do not care about their own. The people that are resorting to eating grass and animal food to try to survive and keep their kids from being bombed. Yeah, they care a lot more about their people.
So over the weekend, our Congresswoman has been attempting to make the round. We all know why. But this is, I think, very important for people to understand. This is something that I think she's going to probably end up experiencing quite often if she thinks that now all of a sudden, because she has what she's going up against, her attempt to try to make inroads in these communities. But I think that what you'll see from this video is the indication that that's probably not going to happen.
The way that it's taught in medical schools, right, and in the training of doctors. And so we have to decolonize the system, and we have to kind of hit the reset button and go back to the wisdom of communities. And as a midwife, I can say that we've gained a lot of wisdom over the years when it comes to pregnancy and birth and the human body. But in the last 100 years, most of that has been sidelined by a system that is run by doctors. And when you look around the world at countries that have great maternal health outcomes, midwives lead that maternity care. Doctors are part of the system, absolutely, for when they are needed, but midwives lead that care. And that's an important difference when you look at every other industrialized nation around the world that has great maternal and child health outcomes. Midwives lead. I will also say that when we talk about not trusting the healthcare system or distrust or mistrust, however we want to label it, I think we have to stop putting the onus on the community and saying, oh, we need to figure out how to help Black people trust their doctors. We need to figure out how to help doctors be trustworthy. And we need to reframe that question and flip it on its head, right? And we got here, to answer your question about how did we get here, we got here because we don't have a system that is based on human rights.
We don't have a system that's based on human rights. And this lady's name, Jamara
Amani, she is a midwife and has, she's more than just a midwife. She has a center and she teaches, and she's just an amazing community person here. And I've met her a few times, and I just find, this is a meeting about Black women's health that is in an area in a Black and vulnerable area in our district. And so this is someone who our Congresswoman invited to come and be a speaker, because she's, so it's just kind of ironic that this is someone who doesn't support single payer healthcare. But I digress.
We don't have a system that fights for justice for all. We have a profit-based medical industrial complex, right? We don't have universal health care. We're not taking care of people in terms of the needs of the community. And we talk about the social determinants of health, but we also have this web of causation, right? Which is based on things like redlining and Jim Crow and the legacies of that in our communities. And then we continue it today by creating these same problems around the world, by not being in solidarity with Haiti, with not being in solidarity with Palestine. And
okay. Now, I want people to take note of this because it's very interesting. My Congresswoman has never said the word Palestine, and she has never said the word Palestinian. She answers questions she has never said those words. They do not come out of her mouth. So I just think it's just very interesting that she's just sitting there and nodding.
I love the fact that Jamara gave her a twofer. First one being that our community needs universal health care.
Yeah.
And Debbie has voted against universal health care every single term that she's been in Congress. In addition to that, the fact that Jamara slipped in supporting the people of Palestine. Now, Debbie's hiding it pretty well, but I'm sure underneath it all, she's thinking, that's the last time I'll ever talk to this person.
Well, not only that, but what ended up happening, and I don't know what the plan was in the first place, but my friend who filmed this, who was there, my friend Mo, was there to actually ask her Congresswoman why she would be having a forum on Black women's health when she doesn't support them having health care. That was going to be her question, which is very valid as a constituent. And yet, when this ended, they hurried and got out of there and didn't take any questions. So I think that this didn't go how maybe they thought it would go. But yeah, so there were no questions were asked.
We'll finish it.
Those chickens come home to roost, right? And so we have to reframe the entire question and the entire system and really deal with the issue of justice, which is why we are building the movement for birth justice, because we want to bring more of a justice lens and more of a human rights lens into healthcare, so that we can transform even the way medical students are trained and the way they interact in the system. The entire system itself needs to change as well.
Yeah, I don't think that went as she thought it would.
And I think when you look at, a lot of what we've talked about since we've started this podcast, which is transforming politics into service, what Jamara just did was transforming politics into service. She served her community by basically putting the person that has been voting against their interests for over 2 decades in a very tough spot.
Well, and again, she was invited there. I do not know, because our Congresswoman has not been really posting things. She just shows up, like they do them very last minute so that a lot of people don't know about it. So I'm not exactly sure who sponsored this, who created it, but I know that that our congresswoman would only be sitting on a panel with approved people. So it was either invited by her or approved by her. And because otherwise there's no way that she would be sitting there. And so I just think it's very interesting. And I know Jamara is just very, very smart woman.